At the end of this topic, you will be able to recall the origin of the Pallavas, recognize the important Pallava rulers, explain the causes for the downfall of the Pallavas, appraise the architectural skill of the Pallavas. The southernmost part of the Indian subcontinent has been called the far south or Tamilaham. The Sangam literature provides us useful information about the ancient history and the culture of the far south. The earliest dynasties which established their rule here were the Cholas, the Pandyas and the Cheras. Their period was called as the Sangam age. During this period, the Pallavas rose to prominence and ruled for nearly 3 centuries. The Pallavas, political history and later Pallavas. There is yet no consensus among scholars regarding the origin of the Pallavas. Some historians viewed that they were of Persian origin, while others say that they were feudatories of Satavahanas. But the most accepted theory is that they were the natives of Tondai Mandalam. The Pallavas raised themselves to the status of a ruling dynasty by the middle of the 3rd century AD. The Pallava dynasty was divided into early and later Pallavas. The foundation of the greatness of the Pallavas was laid by Simha Vishnu. He defeated the Kalabras and established the Pallava dynasty on strong footing in Tondai Mandalam with Kanchi as their capital. He conquered Chola Mandalam and extended the territories between the rivers Kaveri and Krishna. He took up the title Evaisama, or the Lion of the Earth. Mahendravarman I. Mahendravarman I succeeded his father Simha Vishnu in 600 AD and ruled till 630 AD. During his period, the Chalukyas tried to crush the growing power of the Pallavas. This culminated in a long-drawn battle between the two dynasties. Pulakesin II, the Chalukyan ruler, succeeded in penetrating deep into the Pallava dynasty. He captured the northernmost territory and Vengi. Mahendravarman I was a Jain, but with the influence of Saint Appar, he converted to Saivism. He was a poet, musician and patronized literature and fine arts. He constructed many temples in honor of Shiva and Vishnu at Dalanvar, Mahendravadi, Mamadur, Pallavaram, Mandagapattu, Trichurapalli and Siyamangalam. Mahendravadi and Mahendramangalam were the cities constructed by him. Narasimhavarman I. Mahendravarman I was succeeded by his son Narasimhavarman I in 630 AD. He made the Pallava pass supreme in South India. He was called Mamala, which means a great wrestler. Narasimhavarman I defeated Pulakesin in 3 battles and forced him to retire back to his kingdom and took up the title Vatapikundan. He defeated Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas of the south and extended the empire. He sent 2 naval expeditions to Ceylon to reinstate the Sinhalese prince Maravarman and succeeded finally. During his period, the Chinese traveller Hu Sang visited Kanchipuram, the capital of Pallavas, and described it as a beautiful and prosperous city. He showed a lot of interest in rock architecture. The monolithic rathas at Mamallapuram proves the architectural skill of Narasimhavarman I. Rajasimha or Narasimhavarman II. Narasimhavarman II was the son and successor of Parameshwaran I. He ruled from 691 to 728 AD. His reign was noted for peace and order. The empire grew prosperous during his reign. He built the following temples: the Kailasanatha temple at Kanchipuram, the Shore temple at Mamallapuram, the Talagiriswara temple at Panamalai. He patronized scholars. Dandin, the prose writer and the author of Dandelakaram, flourished at his court. He had trade relations with China. Parameshwaran II was the son and successor of Narasimhavarman II during the later part of his reign. He was defeated by Vikramaditya II, the Chalukya ruler. Simha Vishnu line of rule came to an end when Parameshwaran II died in the battle with the Gangas. Nandivarman II and the decline of the Pallavas. Nandivarman II, the son of Hiranyavarman, brother of Simha Vishnu, became the next ruler. He was elected emperor by the Assembly of Ministers, the members of Gatika or College of Learning and Common People. He was a Vaishnavite and was a contemporary of the great Vaishnava saint Tirumangai Alvar. The Vaikunta Perumal temple at Kanchipuram was built by Nandivarman II. The successors of Narasimhavarman II were very weak and they faced constant aggression from the Pandyas. Aparajita, the last Pallava ruler who ruled from 885 to 903 AD, was defeated and killed by Aditya, the Chola ruler. With the death of Aparajita, the Pallava rule came to an end. Administration of the Pallavas. The Pallava administration was well organized. The king was the head of the state and all the powers were in his hands. But the king was not despotic. His primary duty was to look after the welfare of his people. The king was assisted by ministries and many high officials of the state. The empire was divided into Rashtras or Mandalams, Vishyas or Kotams, Nadus or Urs. The lowest unit of administration was the village. The village administration was carried on by the village assembly called Uravai. The villages were taken care of by a number of varyams such as Kovil Varyam, Totta Varyam, Eri Varyam, etc. The period of the Pallavas was marked by literary progress. Some of the eminent works of this period were Mattavilasa Prahasana and Bhagavadarjugam written by the Pallava king Mahendravarman I, Kiratarjunyam written by Bharavi, Avanti Sundara Kadasara written by Dandin. The Alvas and Nayanmars have also contributed to this period. The other books of this period include Nandi, Kalambagam and Perundevana's Bharata Venba. Pallava Art and Architecture. In the far south, the temple architecture began with the Pallavas. The Pallava architecture grew in stages. Its progress is marked in 4 different styles. The Mahendra style. The temples in this style are found in Dalanvur, Trichurapalli, Tirukalukundram, Siyamangalam. The second style is called the Mamala style. The monolithic rathas and mandapas at Mamalapuram are the finest examples of this style. The third is called Rajasimha style. The Kailasanatha temple at Kanchipuram and Shore temple at Mamalapuram are examples of this style. Finally, the Aparjita style here, structural temples were built. Vaigunda Perumal temple and Mukutishwar temple are examples of this style. The Pallava kings were patrons of fine arts and music as well. Mahendravarman took up the title Sankiranazadi for his skill in music and Chitrakarapuli for his mastery in painting. The Kailasanatha temple has exquisite paintings of the Pallavas. In this topic, you have learnt the southernmost part of the Indian subcontinent was called the far south or Tamilaham. Simha Vishnu laid the foundation of the later Pallava dynasty in Tamilaham. Mahendravarman I was a scholar, painter and a musician. Narasimhavarman I defeated the Chalukyas and assumed the title Vatapi Kundan. The reign of Narasimhavarman II is shown for peace and prosperity. The great Tirumangai Alvar was a contemporary of Nandivarman II. The Pallava kingdom declined because the successors of Narasimhavarman II were weak. The Pallavas had a well-organized system of administration. The Pallavas were great patrons of literature, art and architecture. At the end of the topic, you will be able to enumerate the Chola rulers, analyze their extension policy, identify the causes for the decline of the Cholas. The Chola dynasty was one of the ancient ruling dynasties of the far south. Accounts of Megasthenes and Ptolemy, inscriptions of Ashoka and Mahabharata have mentioned the Cholas. The Cholas ruled Trichy and Tanjore during the Sangam age. Urayur was their capital and their emblem was tiger. Karigala was the greatest ruler. The famous Kalanai Dam was built by Karigala across the river Kaveri near Trichy. The Cholas had power and prestige during the Sangam age, but later they declined and were reduced to feudatory status. During the middle of the 9th century, the Cholas established themselves as a supreme power of the far south. The founder of the Chola dynasty of Tanjore was Vijayalaya. He attacked Tanjore, which was under a feudatory chief, Mutrayar, and occupied it. He made Tanjore his capital and established his empire. He ruled from 850 to 871 AD. The Chola Empire covered a major portion of South India and extended overseas to Sri Lanka and Kadaram that included Sumatra and Malaya. So they were called Imperial Cholas. The independent kingdom of the Cholas was created by Aditya I, the son and successor of Vijayalaya. He became the sovereign ruler of Tondai Mandalam and Chola Mandalam. The Gangas and Kongu country were defeated by him. Aditya's son Parantaka I ascended the throne in 907 AD. He took up the title Madurai Kondan after defeating the Pandya ruler. Parantaka I waged a number of wars and by his successive victories he established an extensive empire. However, in the Battle of Takolam, the Rashtrakuta ruler Krishna III defeated Parantaka I and he died in 955 AD. The credit for reviving the glory of the Cholas goes to Rajaraja Chola. He pursued a policy of war and conquest. He defeated the western Gangas, the eastern Chalukyas of Vengi, the Pandyas of Madura, the Gangas of Kalinga and the Cheras of Kerala, and extended his empire and influence to the far south. Rajaraja I built a Shiva temple at Anuradhapuram. Mahinda V of Ceylon changed his capital from Polonnaruvu to Anuradhapuram and was defeated by Rajaraja I. Maldives was also conquered by him, so he extended his power beyond the southern shores. Bhaskaravarman, the Chera ruler, was defeated by Rajaraja I at Kandalur Salai, and he restored the throne of Venji to Shaktivarman after defeating Satyar Saya, the ruler of Kalyani. He also gave his daughter in marriage to Shaktivarman's brother Vimala Aditya. The places he captured include Adigaipadi, Gangaivadi, Nolambapadi in Mysore, and Raichur Doab. Rajaraja I was a Saivite. During his period, Devaram was collected and codified. The Brihadishwar temple at Tanjore was built by him in 1010 AD. He took up the titles Sivappadesakara, Jayam Kondan, and Mumudi Chola. He died in 1014 AD. Rajendra I pursued the policy of conquest and annexation adopted by his father and raised the power and prestige of the Cholas to the highest. Places like Ideyurai Nadu or Raichar Doab, Vanavasi, the capital of Kadambas, Kolipakkai in Hyderabad, and Mane Kadakam were captured by him. He conquered Ilamandalam or Ceylon in 1029 AD. The Cheras, Pandyas, and Western Chalukyas were defeated by him. Gangai Kondacholapuram was founded by him in memory of his victorious expedition against Mahipala of Bengal. Conquest of Kadaram, Sri Vijaya, and places between the Malaya Peninsula and Nicobar Islands are considered as his greatest achievements. Gangai Kondan, Pandita Cholan, and Kadaram Kondan were the titles earned by him. Kulottungal I was the son of Rajaraja of Venji and Amang Devi, the daughter of Rajendra I. The Venji kingdom was united with the Chola Empire, and thus the Chalukya-Chola line was started by him. He captured Kalinga and defeated the Western Chalukyas. Sri Lanka declared its independence during his reign. In 1077 AD, he developed close relations with Sri Vijaya and even had trade contacts. Kulottunga I was an excellent administrator. Lands were measured and land revenues were regulated. He acquired the title Sugam Tavirtha Cholan when he removed excise duties. Great literary scholars like Ottakudir, Pugalendi, Jayam Kondan, and Kambar were patronized by him. The rise of feudatories like Kadavarayas and emergence of the Pandya Empire led to the disintegration of the Chola power. The last Chola ruler was Rajendra III, who ruled from 1246 to 1279 AD. He was defeated by Jatavarman Sundara Pandya II, and the Chola Empire was annexed to the Pandya kingdom. In this topic, you have learnt the Chola dynasty was one of the ancient ruling dynasties of the far south. Vijayalaya defeated Mutrayar of Tanjore and laid the foundations of the later Cholas. Aditya I became the ruler of Chola Mandalam and Tondai Mandalam. The most powerful ruler of the Chola Empire was Rajaraja I, who pursued the policy of war and conquest. Rajendra I pursued further the policy of conquest and annexation. Kulottunga I was an excellent administrator. Lands were measured and land revenues were regulated. Rajendra III was defeated by Jatavarman Sundara Pandya II and annexed the Chola Empire to the Pandya kingdom. At the end of the topic, you will be able to understand the Chola administration, appreciate their contribution to literature, art and architecture, analyze the impact of the Imperial Cholas. The Cholas were renowned for their efficient administration. For the convenience of administration, the empire was divided into mandalams or provinces. The mandalams were divided into kotams. The kotams were further divided into districts called nadus or valanadus and villages or urus. Villages was the smallest unit of administration. Detailed information about village administration is found in Uttaramerur inscriptions of Parantaka I. Village administration was taken care of by the village assembly called Ur or Sabha. Kuduvole system was practiced to elect the members of the village assembly. On palm leaves, the names of persons were written and placed in a pot. A small child was asked to pick up 30 names, and these 30 persons were declared as elected. The functioning of the villages was entrusted to Varyams. Some of the Varyams were Erivaryam, Samavatsara Varyam, Panchavaryam, Ponvaryam, and Puravuvari Varyam. The numbers of members and Varyams was not the same in all the villages. The members of the Varyams were called Varya Perumakkal. Society was based on caste system, but the different castes lived peacefully with each other. Intercaste marriages were allowed, and it led to the formation of subcaste. Seerpadu or saving money was practiced by women. Devadasi system and sati were in vogue in the Chola Empire. Weaving and metal industries flourished. Trade guilds were set up to regulate trade. The traders had brisk trade with Sumatra, Java, Arabia, and China. The Chola rulers were Saivites, but they allowed Vaishnavites and Buddhists to coexist. Education was imparted in maths and temples. Tirubhuvanam, Tirumukudal, and Ennariyam inscriptions gives information about learning centers in the Chola period. The Chola period was the golden age of the Tamil literature. Different scholars received patronage from different Chola rulers. Ramayanam, composed by Kambar, and Periya Puranam, written by Secular, were the two masterpieces of this age. Paniruthiramari, compiled by Nambiyandar Nimbi, was a Saivite work. Ottakudar wrote Takkayaka Parani, Kuluntoga Pillai Tamil, and Muvurala, and Kalingathu Parini was written by Jayam Kondar. This period also produced commentators like Pari Melalagar, Ilam Puranar, and Achirna Kirniyar. The Chola architecture was known for perfection in Dravidian style of art. Huge and beautiful temples cut out from rocks or from hills, and images of different Hindu gods and goddesses were constructed by the Cholas. The Vimana was the chief feature of the Chola temples. Between the Gulf of Mannar and the lower Krishna Valley, about 70 specimens of Chola temples are found. The chief places of Chola art include Udupi, Suchindram, Trivandrum, Tiruvannamalai, Chidambram, Kumbakonam, Srirangam, and Tanjore. Aivar Koil at Kodumbalur and Vijayalaya Choleshwaram are the examples of early Chola architecture which are known for its simplicity. The Brihadeshwar temple at Tanjore and Shiva temple at Gangaikonda Cholapuram display fine architectural skill and belong to the middle Chola period. The Brihadeshwar temple at Tanjore, declared as a World Heritage Monument, has a Vimana above the Garbhagriha, reaching to a height of 216 feet and has 13 tiers. The Tirubhuvaneshwara temple and Subramanya temple at Tanjore and Airaveteshwara temple at Darasuram display graceful architecture of the Cholas, and they belong to the later Chola period. The eminent features of the Chola sculpture were icons, portraits, and decorative sculptures. Both beauty and grace were evident in the portraits. The icon of Rajaraja I is a masterpiece, and a few examples of Chola sculptures are the 8-armed Durga, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma sculptures found in the Shiva and Vishnu temples. The finest specimen of bronze statues is the Nataraja statue found in the Nageshwara temple at Kumbakonam. Another important specimen of bronze images is the Arthanariswarar. The art of painting progressed during the Chola period. Wall paintings of the Chola period are found at Tanjore, Kanchi, Tirumayam, Kailasanatha temple, and Narthamalai Vishnu temple. Bharatanatyam developed as a fine art during the Chola period. Music also progressed during the Chola period, and this progress resulted as the basis for Carnatic music at a later stage. The period of the Cholas was remarkable from many aspects. It contributed fairly to the polity and culture of South India. The Cholas played a significant role for 430 years in South India. The contribution of the Cholas is widely accepted in fields such as local self-government, construction of a powerful navy, development of Tamil literature, and in the fields of art and architecture. In this topic, you have learnt the Cholas were renowned for their efficient administration. For the convenience of administration, the empire was divided into mandalams or provinces. Society was based on caste system. Intercaste marriages were allowed and led to formation of subcastes. The Chola period was the golden age of Tamil literature. The Chola architecture was known for perfection in Dravidian style of art. Huge, beautiful temples cut out from rocks. At the end of the topic, you will be able to identify the different eras of the Pandya Empire, recognize the importance of the Pandya rulers, examine the causes for the decline of the Pandyas. Tirunelveli, Madurai, parts of Trichy and Travancore were the regions occupied by the Pandyas. We have information about the Pandyas from the accounts of Greek writers like Megasthenes and Pliny, the Sanskrit grammarian Katayana, accounts of travellers like Husang and Marco Polo, Tamil literary works, and Vasaf, a Muslim historian. The history of the Pandyas is divided into three phases: early Pandyas, First Pandya Empire, and Second Pandya Empire. The Pandyas of the Sangam age were called early Pandyas. The Sangam at Madurai, or the flourishing of Tamil Literary Academy, is a remarkable feature of this period. The Pandya symbol was the fish and their capital was Madurai. The early Pandyas declined with the rise of the Kalabras. During the end of the 6th century AD, Kadungon, the Pandya king, overthrew the Pallavas and restored the Pandya kingdom. The dynasty founded by him lasted from 550 to 950 AD. This dynasty was called as the first Pandya dynasty. The kingdom comprised of Salem, Trichirappalli, Coimbatore and Tanjore. There were a number of eminent rulers in this period. They were Arikesiri Maravarman, Ranadhiran, Maravarman Rajasimha I, Varaguna I, and Srimara Sri Vallabha. The successors of Srimara Sri Vallabha were weak and were unable to resist the attack of the Cholas and the Pallavas. Though the Pandyas made several attempts during the 10th and 11th centuries, they were unable to revive the glory of the past. Thus, the First Pandya Empire declined due to the constant attacks from the Cholas and Pallavas. The Pandyas reasserted their independence from the Cholas during the 13th century. Veera Pandya and Vikrama Pandya fought for the throne. In this civil war, the Chola Emperor Kulottungal III helped Vikrama Pandya to capture the throne. Vikrama Pandya was succeeded by his son, Jatavarman Kulasekara I, who ruled from 1190 to 1216 AD. He held sway over Madurai, Tirunelveli, Ramanathapuram and Kanyakumari. Maravarman Sundara Pandya I was appointed as his successor. He ruled from 1216 to 1238 AD. He defeated the Chola ruler Kulottungal III in 1219 AD. But when Hoysalas supported the Cholas, he retreated. He assumed the title Sonnadu Valangi Aruliya Sundara Pandya when he placed Rajaraja III on the Chola throne. Maravarman Sundara Pandya II was the next ruler. He ruled from 1238 to 1253 AD. Someshwara, the Hoysala ruler, helped him to recover some of the lost territories from the Chola ruler Rajendra III. Maravarman Sundara Pandya II was succeeded by Jatavarman Sundara Pandya I. He ruled from 1253 to 1268 AD. He extended his empire from Cape Comorin in the south to Nellore and Kadapa districts in the north. He assumed titles like Ponveitha Perumal, Mandalumum Kondaruliya Maharajadi Raja, and Sri Parameshwaran. He was succeeded by his son Mavarman Kulasekara I. He captured Kollam from the Cheras and invaded Ceylon and extended his empire. He took up the title Kolamkonda Pandya. The Pandya power began to decline after him as a war of succession broke out between his sons after his death in 1308 AD. After the death of Maravarman Kulasekara I, a war of succession broke out between his sons, Sundara Pandyan and Veera Pandyan. Sundara Pandya was able to ascend the throne with the help of Malik Kafur, the commander of Alauddin Khilji. The Khilji dynasty was succeeded by the Tughlaq dynasty, which had a strong hold in South India. They made the Pandya region a part of their empire. The Sultans of Madurai established themselves after the decline of the Tughlaqs. The Pandya Empire completely declined after this. In this topic, you have learnt the history of the Pandyas is divided into three phases: the early Pandyas, First Pandya Empire, and Second Pandya Empire. During the last part of the 6th century AD, Kadungon, the Pandya king, overthrew the Pallavas and restored the Pandya kingdom. The Pandyas reasserted their independence from the Cholas during the 13th century. Vikrama Pandya became the ruler with the help of Kulottungal III. The Pandya Empire completely declined when the Sultans of Madurai established themselves. At the end of the topic, you will be able to understand the pattern of Pandyan administration, analyze their contribution to literature, art and architecture, appreciate their painting skills. The Pandya Mandalam or Pandya Empire was divided into Valanadu and Urs. The Aryans or ministers and their army chief assisted the king in administration. There were special offers for maintaining accounts and for collection of taxes. Local self-government. The village administration was carried on by 5 varyams. They were Nidhi Varyam, Varitandal Varyam, Nanaya Varyam, Neernilai Varyam and Arunilaya Varyam. Occupation. The main occupation of Pandya society was agriculture and trade. The agriculturalists were termed as Bhumi Putiras. There were slaves in the Pandya dynasty who performed different tasks. Pearl diving was one of the important occupations of the Pandyas. The pearls of the Pandya kingdom were world famous. Korkai and Tondi were the famous ports of the Pandyas. The Pandya kings encouraged the growth of literature. Some of the famous literary works of this period are Tiruvasagam written by Manika Vasagar, Tirupavai written by Andal, Tirupallandu written by Nammalvar, Mahabharata written by Villiputrar, Naidadam written by Adi Veera Rama Pandya, Seyur Murugam Ula and Ratnagiri Ula written by Sri Kavyaraya. The Pandyas made valuable contribution in the field of art and architecture. The gateways, gopuras, prakaras, garbhagrahas, and vimanas were the special features of the Pandya temple architecture. It was a period of reawakening of rock-cut temples. The Pandya temples are found in Kunnakudi, Annaimalai, Kalugumalai, Tiruparankundram, Trichurapalli, Malayadi-Kurichi, and Seethanavasal. There are about 50 rock-cut temples found in these places. Structural temples of Pandya style are found in Tirupattur, Madurai, Srivilliputtur, Kovilpatti and few other places. Artha Mandapa, Mani Mandapa and Sanati were built in all the temples during the time of Kulasekaran Pandya. These Sabha Mandapas served as places of social gathering, religious kirtanas, recitals, public meetings and Kadanataka. The Pandya sculptures are noted for its beauty and ornamentation. The best specimens of this period are Ganapati, Somaskandar, Narasimha, Nataraja and Durga. The sculptures of the Pandya period are found in Kunnakudi, Nartamalai, Tirumalaipuram, Tiruparankundram and Kalugumalai. The Pandya emperors gave a lot of importance to painting. The Seethanavasal cave temples display mural paintings of Srimaran Sri Vallabha Pandya of the First Pandya Empire. The other famous paintings include playing fish, lotus and bathing elephant. Thus the Pandyas have made immense contribution to South India.